Talk Show.
Hello?
Recorded live.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hey, how you doing, Jared?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Not much.
Are you, using,
The talk show thing?
are you using, like, a headpiece or something, or?
Yes.
That's
Yes,
why,
I
yeah, you
am.
sound kind of funny on that. You know, you can always call with your cell phone or your house phone, whatever.
I think I tried using that the other time. It didn't want to work. I think my service doesn't, I don't know, doesn't.
You can't call
compatible with
Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania. Oh, I don't know. I don't see why not. But,
Yeah,
did you read that or what?
What happened? Like, it told you to type in the number?
Well,
Hello?
I don't know.
Hello, who else is there?
I'm here.
Dana?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. This is what you do, George. You should, have you ever signed in to Talk? Do you have an account with it?
Yeah.
Oh, so you should just type in this number, 76496, I think it's called. Yeah, 76496.
Yeah.
And press pound, and it should let you in. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. Come on.
Oh.
Because you sound all like
Underwater?
Yeah, you sound like you're underwater.
Underwater. All right, I'll go ahead and try.
Your PIN will be, your phone number that you signed up with. So if you can call from that phone and then you just type in this call ID, it should let you in. Otherwise, it's going to ask for your PIN, and you got to put whatever phone number you signed up with.
Or if you're not even a member, if you want to just come in now as a member, after you type in that number, it'll say that it won't accept it. But right after it says that, you press 1, then pound, and then it'll bring you in.
All right, I'll try it out.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, so you got a couple guests in.
Are you just listening, or?
I guess so.
Oh, I was talking. Oh. Well, anyway, what's this guy? This face, Glenn, man.
Yeah, he got some
real problems, man, with the freaking mail, man. I think, yeah, I always have that in the back of my mind, like when get something in the mail or mailing something.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, because the thing is that the mail, they're using that registered mail, so that's like, they basically, you have to get it signed for. It's like a special, they pay more for it, actually. So it's like, because there's more services attached to it. He had to get a signature confirmation, delivery confirmation, and whatnot. But when he just puts it in as a letter, like, just with regular stamps, that got there the normal time. So he ran that little test. Yeah. But when I sent him something, I just, was write it's regular mail, cheapest mail, But
like they're trying everything like this to like hinder like the progress, I guess, because it must really, with her, like she must really be a threat, man. I guess them together. I guess because it is because there's not that many people of age, I guess, who get that big picture, and they seem to be like one of the only people that I've met of age, above 40.
I think it's that, and it's also the fact that all these hurdles that they throw in front of them is how much time do they waste a day dealing with that. So it's just messing everything up as far as that goes. They don't have time to really do anything but that, So trying to get her back in the country. All their time is spent emailing or faxing all the cabinet members and whatnot in the Canadian government. mailing letters, tracking that, and finding out they're holding letters that should get there within 5 days. They're holding it for about a month. Lost in translation.
Mhm.
So that all takes time. So they know what they're doing.
Yeah, sucks being Glenn Keely sometimes. Right?
Yeah, you can't even be married. I'm doing what you want. I married someone. Still not allowed to.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Who else is on this thing? I'm like, it's weird, man.
Oh, let me see. Is your phone working now? Is that Murphy?
My phone?
72? Murphy 72? Oh, it's gone.
It's there, gone.
Well, there's two guests. There's guest 2 and guest 3. Maybe. Over here.
That's how it was, man, when I used to do this thing. Well, I was like, how long? It's been like almost a year now. No.
Yeah.
Under a year. It's been under a year, but like I would come on, I would see like 5 people. And I'd just be talking. I'm like, hello, is anybody there? Nobody. And it just felt weird, man, being like,
Yeah.
just talking to myself, man. I hated that shit.
Yeah. Well, I still like to upload that talk if it's ready, but it's pretty interesting.
So I'm like looking at my phone. My phone finally started working properly. I mean, still isn't working, but that shit I said I did to it.
Oh, you mean when you couldn't get any sounds out of it?
No. Yeah, that's not working still, but I get messages now like you can subscribe to somebody, right? On each page, each individual profile, like if they do something, you get like a text or some shit, and you can reply. You could you do all that shit on Facebook, but from your cell phone.
Yeah, the notification.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's interesting. So you're talking about like the animals that they're using, as characters and stuff like that. That's why how Disney, or basically all American animations are based off of animals. I guess it started from like using the traits that those animals represented. And
Yep.
Yeah,
common thing you see in all like the priesthoods and stuff is birds. Man. They love using birds, and that's Glenn always talking about the bird man. Like Native Americans, perfect example. They always have the feathers on there.
Got the headdress.
Yeah, the headdress. And you got the Persians. They use the the vulture. And I was looking at a bird yesterday. What was it yesterday? I can't. I had a book on Greek mythology, but they call it the bird of Juno. It's the peacock.
Juno.
And that's another one they use, but I'm trying to figure out. I know there's a clue if you look up what
peacock.
that is. Like, why would they use that in that mythology?
The name is interesting too. So.
Yeah, peacock. It's the pea pods, two peas in a pod, and
iPod.
Chicken, and the chicken. I guess, or they call it cock, or a more general term is fowl. FOWL.
Fowl. Yeah. Great. Yeah, the peacocks are interesting too. The males are the ones with the feathers, with the elaborate, beautiful feathers, and like my father has a few of them on his farm, and Like when their mating dance is kind of interesting. Like they use those feathers. They walk up to a female. The female just looks, plain, like most birds in the animal or any animal in the animal kingdom. One female is always, less stunning because the male has to always attract the female. And they do this dance where they put their feathers up and they start shaking them. And then they walk up to the female and then they basically cover her with the feathers, so they lean them forward and just like engulf her in the feathers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to watch that. So.
Yeah, man. Well, kind of slipped out of my mind, but yeah, those birds are interesting. Like, oh yeah, that was in that movie, Holy Mountain. They use those. Remember in the beginning, it's like a whole bunch of eyes looking at you.
Yeah.
The peacock.
Right. Yeah, they have it's like a bunch of eyes.
Yeah, and they love those looking eyes, seeing eyes. And in the movie Santa Sangre, they use the hawk, the falcon.
Mm.
Falcons are like feed on like other birds and stuff.
Yeah, predator birds. Yeah.
Falcon, fall. Actually, I think I have I wrote it down.
Yeah, hawk and initials. Those Native Americans, Mohawk. So Moho.
Yeah, word, right? Moho, Ark, Moha. I looked it up. Yeah.
What was that? And that you showed me. Remember they had they always show that as reptilian men, but you look at them, it's really just bird men. It's feathers and.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That show, Alien Artifacts, right?
Yeah.
Or Alien, some shit.
Yeah, ancient alien. I forget, something like that. Yeah. That just shows you, like what that shows to me is that they just wiped out a bunch of information. They culled it from the commoners. Obviously, there was these great civilizations that came before us. You could see the remnants of them are around. They tell a story. They wrote about it or engraved it in stone, so it stayed permanent. But they just somehow all that information got lost, and it's just a big mystery to everyone, right? Or aliens that came down. The aliens probably did come down from the sky, but they're really from underneath, under the ground.
Yeah, they say aliens is they're just talking about the DNA that came from comets coming from the oil cloud.
Yeah.
But here, look at the word fall. That's what I found. Actually, the word falcon right here, look, comes from Latin falco, from falx, Falx, sickle or scythe, from its curving talons. One of a family of raptorial birds, especially one trained to the pursuit of game, a hawk. And then it goes down. You see the word fall. The word falcon. Con is director, is priest, or whatever.
Right.
And fall is to descend from a higher position to a lower, to drop down, to become prostrate, to empty, to perish, to vanish, to lose strength, to be brought forth, to decline in power, glory, value, or the like, to sink into vice, error, or sin, to become ensnared, to pass into a new state, to become, to happen, to pass or be transferred by chance, lot, or otherwise, descent, act of dropping from an erect posture, death, destruction, degradation, depreciation, a sinking of tone, a slope, a cascade, a cataract, extent of descent, autumn, lapse from innocence, apostasy, part of a tackle to which the power is applied in hoisting. So, like, there's a lot of, I mean, you can see, I saw links in there. You can just put that word, con, and the directors of
conductor.
Yeah, the conductors of what? Everything I just said. Conductors of all that.
Yeah, that's why they use that symbol.
Hell yeah, they say love.
They love the birds.
And they're predatory too. They have predators too. Because that's what that guy was in the movie, man. The guy was kind of like a sick. His father, at least. He was like a sick. He was like kind of predatory in a way.
Yeah.
Not really. What he showed though, the character, he was drunk. He was a drunk. He, I guess he was a womanizer type of guy. Yeah. Where's this guy? Jorge at, man? Where's Jorge?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, you here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening in.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I went ahead and saw that movie, The Antichrist.
Oh, you seen it?
And I went to. I saw that movie because you had it on your profile there on Facebook, along with the other story, the three beggars, right? And I'm thinking, how do they, correlate with each other? I was wondering.
Oh, did you?
What?
Did you read that story? You read the three beggars?
Yeah.
It's an allegorical story. What?
Yeah, I read it. I was wondering why did you put that link to the Antichrist?
Oh, because he referred that in his movie. You gotta watch the movie. And the movie, the three beggars.
It was the crow, the deer, and the fox.
Yeah. And he uses all those symbols. The fox is a really important symbol, which is where you get the term, if you understand vocabulary and count, they have a term called 666. And 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. And they love the fox because if you, I was reading in Persian, Arabian Tales, the fox is, even you can look up in the dictionary, it's known for its cunning and craftiness. Yeah. And that's something they really like in Freemasonry. That's why they like Hermes, the patron. That's what they are. A lot of they use craft. It's all how you can fool somebody without actually breaking the laws openly. Getting around the laws, bending the laws. It's like that's what nature. That's what they do with nature. They can't break nature. They can bend it and to go in whatever direction. But that's what in the 666, the 9 thing is that brand of female they call number 9s that they made. And it's not just that. It's gays. It's lesbian. And they're saying these are the people who are cunning, and they're the ones that they used. Glenn was telling me they used them to infiltrate the clan society, so they had to be cunning and crafty. Now you look at the world today; it's been infiltrated, and what you're seeing now is like just a portrait. It's not even. It's been infiltrated and totally turned around, I guess. But there's some people here and there.
There was.
Yep.
What was it, just like 10 years ago? Homosexuals couldn't really come out from the closet,
No, they were always.
Now
homosexuality is not like an unnatural thing. It is in nature. It's just that gay men are in nature, but lesbians are not. Like something that comes from nature.
Because they come from female. So.
Yep. Because we all
They
come
from where?
female. Because we all come from female, right? We all come from female in the womb. We're all a female, and of course, you're gonna have circumstances where that X or doesn't, that Y or the Y chromosome has a little bit of that Lego in it. It doesn't make the full break. The separation is not complete. But how do you how do you do that and have a woman and reverse that process and do the total opposite way and make a woman a man? That's something that's like really should be asked. And
yeah, that's what they use like the chemotherapy for when they're in the first few weeks. They can blast the egg with when they're inseminating it and whatnot. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. We all have that hermaphroditic origin, so there was no gays and lesbians before because there was only one gender. And then when they split them, then there you go. So I guess as long as males have been around, as long as there's been those type of beings,
Yeah, and the gays weren't always were like 5% in the beginning. It was 5%. You always have exceptions to the rule. But now what the system did is that they took that 5% and they expanded it to like 15%. So.
Yeah. Well, they didn't need them as much back then, so.
Yeah. I know a lot of the priests there, a lot of them, and Alejandro, he told that in his movies that they all show like gay innuendos, guys kissing each other. Showing you like these are the robber barons, the priests, the pirates. Like Knights Templars, I heard they were you couldn't when you joined them, like they had this rule, like one of the rules was like if a brother needed sexual favor, it had you had to give it to him. So what's his name? Newton was gay. I discovered the theory of gravity. Was it? No, Newton's law. I discovered gravity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He plays an important role, I guess. And
Newton.
Yeah.
Yep. And Lesbos Island.
Yeah. That's hitting that they were just making lesbians on that island. That was like a big experiment on that island. And lesbian, French, I think it's like les boys. The boys.
The boys, yeah.
Yeah, les boys. The boys.
Tomboys.
Yeah. Mate. Tom.
Yeah.
Who else is on?
I don't know. Let's see.
I gotta run in and out of a room.
We got New York City. I'm into New York City.
Oh, I think I know who that is. Don. What's Don at? Oh.
Yo.
What's up, Don?
What's going on?
Hanging out.
My bad. I had it on.
Man.
My bad. I had it on mute. Sitting here cleaning and shit, running around. What's good?
What you been up to, man?
Can't complain. No one listening, man. I'm out here,
Yeah, that was a good point you made last week. Talking about
a good what?
Saying the last week you made a point about in Africa, like with the rhythmic dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
You were saying something about they use that in hip hop.
Yeah, they use it. I said they definitely use it against a bunch of people right now.
Oh, you with a bunch of people right now?
No. I said they use it against a bunch of people.
Yeah. I mean, there's something about, rhythmic, when you hear rhythm, like, drums and stuff. Something that, why does it, like, make I know it makes me, like, it stirs something in everybody who hear it when it's like a rhythm. You get a rhythm going.
Yeah. Yeah.
In your bones.
Oh yeah, I seen a movie last night, The Bone. The Lovely Bones. That's a purely symbolic movie. It's called The Lovely Bones. It's with that guy, the guy who was in Boogie Nights, Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
He was in that movie. It was a pretty good movie. Totally symbolic. It was. They veil it with like modern. This girl gets picked, kidnapped and raped and killed, and that's all available. Like there's actually the stories telling a lot more. So I thought it was all right. It was really artsy how he did it.
What's it called? The Bone?
The Lovely Bones. It was like, I think it was one of like the movies of the year. That's how I seen it. And I was like, oh, let me download this. So, whenever, because that movie seemed like it was really promoted. You could tell there's a lot of money put behind that. The production.
America is, how do I say it? Like a dichotomic Nazi Germany.
No.
It is.
The movie?
No. I'm saying like America in itself. It's like
Nazi Germany.
Propaganda. It's like
every country has
Nazi
propaganda.
Germany, like mad propaganda. That's not really like to look like propaganda, but it's propaganda.
Yeah, there's a good book you should read, Don. It's called Propaganda by Jack C. Lowe. And he breaks down propaganda, man, because we think propaganda, most people think propaganda, they think Edward Bernays, psychological manipulation and all that, but it's deeper than that, man. It's all-encompassing. It's when you go out, when you get those door-to-door people come to your house trying to sell you shit, that's propaganda. It's when you went to school and you had to, and
every media.
It's not just media. It's not just TV. It's books too.
It's everything. All any type of information. Anything that someone's telling you that you didn't find out, like you didn't experience yourself, and someone else has to tell you about it. That's a form of media or propaganda. You're always hearing someone else's spin on something, and you weren't there.
Yeah.
You know what's a good book for propaganda?
What?
It's the book Hitler used. Primarily, it was a Bernays book. It's called Crystallizing Public Opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a really, really in-depth understanding of, like, even philanthropy, like, how philanthropy is used to manipulate masses or, like, all sorts.
Yeah, I remember the philanthropy thing. Like, that's, you read about that in Tragedy and Hope, and, what's the other one?
Or right now, trying to manipulate the masses. I'm trying to manipulate the masses right now.
You're trying to manipulate the masses?
Yeah, I want to manipulate the masses for profit. I can't lie.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I can't help myself.
Shit, man. I can't do it, man.
Huh?
I can't do it, man.
I just need to do it so I can escape. I need enough cash to sort of get away from these sick people.
Hey, you know what? A friend of mine, he one time he asked me, "Hey George, what do you think the zombie movie is talking about?" Right? He analyzes the movies, right? And I rarely do that, right? So I started thinking, and I'm thinking, well, the early movies of the zombies was that the zombies always went after the brain, right? Mm-hmm. Your brain. So I'm thinking, you got all these zombies, these people that think they know everything. And, and you only got a certain few people that really know what's going on, and they're trying to stop the creation of more zombies, right? They're trying to cure everybody. And I kind of tell my friend, I think that's what we got right now. You got a lot of zombies out there, and you only got a certain few people that really know what's going on, and the few people are being targeted by the zombies, So kind of interesting.
No, see, I'm a different kind. You ever saw 28 Weeks Later? Not 28 Days Later, but 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
I never watched the whole thing though.
I'm the one that's chaining them up and trying to look at them and study them and see their behavior.
Shit,
Hold on.
yeah.
I know it's fucked up, but like I keep it real, man. Yo, I feel slightly angered at the fact that I, for so long, tried to conform with these people.
So you're going to try to manipulate them?
Just for profit, not really for anything, nothing pornographic.
For profit?
Just for profit, nothing pornographic.
What's the profit get you at the end of the day, though? You can't take it with you.
No, it's not. It's not about the end of the day. It's about tomorrow.
About tomorrow? Well, how do you know tomorrow will come?
I'm not a psychic. I prepare for 70 years from now, but I could die tomorrow. So I actually do things and don't procrastinate.
You playing out like Brzezinski, huh?
I don't know who that is, but I guess.
What's up, fellas?
What's up? This is Luke.
Yeah. What's up, brothers? I just want to, stop by, see how you were doing. I was about to pop off in a minute, but I wanted to say to you, Bernays. By the way, Bernays had a book propaganda too, didn't he? So like a small.
But it was like watered down. Like this one is like an $800 Nazi Germany handbook for propaganda.
The best book I found was by Jacques Lowe's on propaganda because he shows you like it's so. I let somebody borrow it. I don't know if I can get it back. I can mail it to you or something. Because that book, Jack, you can find it on Amazon by Jacques Lowe. ELLUL. It's
Send me a link to it on Facebook.
Yeah. Actually, I actually have. If you go on my blog, I got like I took out passages from the book. But that book,
have you seen my website?
No, I seen one of them a while ago. I don't know.
The Disaster Society joint? You saw that one?
Yeah.
All right, Pete. So how this dude sends me a random email, right? Some Indian guy. His name is Vijender Sahu, right? Sends me an email. How do I join this society? So I'm like about to change the direction of the website into like a membership site. I don't know exactly how or what I'm going to do with it, but I'll figure it out. But, people like the concept of joining something for some reason. So.
That's interesting. So, yeah, it's propaganda. So, ELO, right? It's Jack. ELO is JACQUE. It's Jack, like the French version. And, ELO actually means elect. It's the elect, the elected. So, like, it's interesting. That was a good book, I thought. It's real, But I don't read books like that anymore because I kind of read all shit about that. So many books about.
Who was the dude that mentioned the slave ratio last conversation?
The slavery show.
Yeah, the slave ratio, freedom versus control.
Ratio.
Oh, and
like a golden ratio for creating a slave, like
the golden slave ratio.
What is that called?
The golden slave ratio. Is that what it was?
The golden slave ratio? Yeah. Someone mentioned in the last conversation. I started doing algebra with it, like messing with like physics formulas.
What you come up
with some real interesting, like analogous. Some like real interesting analogous conclusions, like of how you would have to if you want to start a business or like if you want to do anything in a capitalist society without becoming a complete worker or like slave to someone else's agenda. If you actually wanted to have an agenda, like you can do some algebra and figure out like what exactly you would have to do.
Nah, doors have to open for you. Like none of that. I mean, you could probably break it down somewhat but at the end of the day, you can't just be anybody and work out some formulas and get what you want. I mean, doors do have to open.
I don't know. You think you can make doors open?
Well,
yeah,
true,
like,
but you ain't gonna get
they
too high.
do Freemasonry. They're gatekeepers, so they're always guarding all the doors. And they show the allegory of that in the Bible with a lot when he's in his home and people outside, they're like, oh, rape his daughter, bring her daughter, bring your children out here so we can fuck them. And he's in there with angels, and the angels block the door and blind them all, and that's like allegory, like, that's what they do. Like they kill your opportunities. So when you go up those whatever degrees or do whatever, what they like, they open those doors for you. They open them.
But the one behind it shuts.
Yeah. Because you can't go back once you go through that door. And then you're trapped. Because the further up you go, the more bondage you're more enslaved you are. Because the poor people actually have more freedom.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But to the thing, right? See, mathematics, right, and truth, right, itself does have a certain certainty, right, where it's just like 2.3.
On Earth it does. Mathematics.
Right? Okay.
They
but you have chaos
and
you have order, right? Yeah, I know.
Wait, let me finish, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a situation where control, right, there's control being given to you, right, control by opening a door, which means you're losing freedom, right? If it is a mathematic, right, there's no point even having a ratio, even speaking about a ratio, if there's no mathematics to it. So it's like, if you are losing freedom, gaining control in some form or fashion, then there's also a way for you to regain that freedom. The only way you actually can regain that freedom is if you remove someone else's control.
How would you define freedom, though, personally?
I would define it the way it's defined in the dictionary.
What, free and dumb? Free to be dumb? What does it mean? I don't know. Like, say I don't know what it means.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm not really big on semantics.
Honestly,
I don't like playing semantic games and debates.
What would be
actually.
freedom to you, though? Like, financially? Like, if you had a whole bunch of money, would that be free? Like, I'm just trying to see where you're coming from.
Well, generally, freedom is the ability to do that which you will.
Being able to do that which you will?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's great.
So you're going to get that through mathematical equations?
I mean, I've been able to use mathematics to, I guess, have people open doors for me, but those doors were, I mean, I'll put it to you like this. I've been blackballed in several institutions numerous times by authority figures, but I've been able to use mathematics and chaotic-based war theory to reopen doors, I guess. So I have been able to, I've been able to use mathematics as a means of creating chaos around other people who thought they could open a door for me.
Wow. Are you amazing?
So you just played the game. You're just playing the chess game, and you're on it. But, like, you got to understand, though, like, there's always rules, and there's always groups of people who those rules don't apply to, like knights and shit. They have different rules. And queens and shit. There's different rules, right? So.
See, this is the thing. I've tried to be above the chessboard in how I look at things. Like, if I'm in an institution, that's one group of pieces, right? Let's speak analogously. That's one group of pieces. If I'm in one institution, that's one group of pieces. Another institution, that's another group of pieces. Another institution is another group of pieces. And everyone on the board, no matter whether they're a queen or king, within that group of pieces, right, there's another one that they're competing with. And it's constant competition between everybody. And self-interest is sort of a means for these people to have motivation to do what they do, right? If it is all just one big game, self-interest. So self-interest is something that allows you to be manipulated. If that's the case.
You're right. It does. It's called instant gratification. People think self-interest as far as in that point in time, like for short-term thing, but the long-term self-interest is not what a lot of people think about. And to really look at the chessboard, to look at it all, like look under the chessboard, man. Like
I like that. I like that. Look under the chessboard. I never thought about that.
Because the chessboard, you look at those pieces, man. They're moving around on squares, man. Every move is precision made, controlled. It's not living, man. It's not living at all. It's moving somebody else's system.
I feel that personally, and this is my real take on it. I might come from the worst situation, whatever, right? But I feel that if evolution does occur, all right, then even if people are put in position, right, and they're born in position, and there's just this hierarchy, if they're not smarter than the people that are being born, even if they're born in a disadvantageous position, if they're not evolved like someone that's born evolved, then they really don't have that much control. Like, it's
I know what you're saying. You're born into just born into this situation where it's like survival of the fittest. You got to be above, to climb to the top. But like once you get to that top,
no. This is the thing is like you don't have to climb. You are already there.
Yeah, you are there, but not like there is actually. It's given to you. It's already. It's not. It has nothing to do with the money. Then there.
It's a mental thing. Like it's like everybody
power.
here. Everybody on the conversation in general.
It's power
right?
too. It's self-realization. It's knowing reality. It's thinking how original people thought. But we're born like that. But we're slowly trained as we go up to unthink like that. You're going from non-linear to linear.
I've had to do so much reprogramming in my own mind to even be able to say these things.
It takes a while. I'm still programming.
Yeah, everyone is. Well, should be. You know what I mean? That's the fucked up part. You got to reprogram yourself, man, because we're born programmed. Animals don't have that. They don't have that problem.
Yeah, but they're trained too, animals, man. Look how
they are. But they could still tap in though. I think deeper. They still have a lot that
because they're not a threat really. I mean, they're not the goal. We're like they're not what the system's focusing on. But they did practice on them at one time. They do that. They have goat herders and it's a science. They probably study animals first, and then the human beings. I mean, they do that now, zoology and shit, man. They when they want to do mass power, because we all herd animals, We all herd animals.
I think I truthfully feel the reason why I got math is my weakest subject, mind you. I majored in it because I knew that there was a reason why, I felt like it was my weakest subject. You know what I mean? Like not that it was a natural innate weakness. It's just there was something in that education system or some system that's made to make people feel like they don't know math. And then usually if they go higher up in the education system, people who don't know math, they become lawyers.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Is there such thing as nonlinear math?
Nonlinear? I think that everything's nonlinear. I don't think there is linearity in anything.
In math? You don't think it can be?
No, I don't think anything's linear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think everything's 1, 3. It's 1 and 3 occur at exactly the same time.
That's a good point.
You feel what I'm saying? It's not. There's no 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything is occurring at exactly the same time. Or 3 things and then 4 things are occurring at one time, right? It's day and it's night at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
That is definitely true. That is definitely true.
So how do you control the circumstances using algebra? I mean, can you give an example?
Because everybody's programmed. That's what the system did. That's what Hal did, or the system. They kind of made everybody fit to one format or whatever format at the time. That's why they have philosophers. That's why they control science, because it's a format and they control people's thought, the propaganda, all of it. And so once everybody sit to as an average, you can basically. It's all mathematical. It's all math, man, because they fit to that.
So
now, somebody
in a way, in the way you're using math to bypass all the propaganda so you can think straight, right?
No, you can't use it. It's just for control.
Let me reiterate. I use math as a form of understanding, or I'm not going to say understanding because my man right here is going to be like, no, overstanding, right? But I mean, in the general sense, right, I use it as a form of comprehension, right? A way to comprehend and look at things where there's truth there. So I'll give you a for instance of how I would use math. Power is control, right? Now
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Let me read. Somebody was asking. No, basically, I'm going to give you a situation in which you could use it, like a direct situation. Let's say you want to get a scholarship or some shit, or you want to get a job. Now, there are mathematical elements to these things. It's not just someone making a based decision because they're using math in their own mind to make these decisions, right? Because there's self-interest involved, and self-interest has to do with money, and money has to do with efficiency, right? So all these things are going to factor into a mathematical equation. You might not know the equation, but it's basically, if you go into physics, right, and that's just a science of motion, right, of things being done in theory, right, things occurring, events occurring. You look at the power formula. Now, that formula, if you use it, is going to make you a slave. As soon as you try to use it analogously, you're using it to gain control. As you gain control of something, you're losing freedom based on that ratio. So if you wanted to get something, you're going to lose your freedom. As soon as you actually use this formula, because it's just basically work over time, and work over time or work divided by time is like if I do 5 things in a matter of 2 years, and Jared does 10 things in a matter of 2 years. Now, if you break that down, right, I've done 2.5 things. I have a power ratio of 2.5. He has a power ratio of straight up 5. I have 2.5, he has 5. He's going to get the job. But he's probably more of a slave, right? So the way that you actually shift that balance is, because, like, let's say I got picked up. Now, let's say I got picked. He must have missed a variable or 2. You know what I'm saying? But there's still math there, and variables are just, it's like, well, usually if you do actually do your homework, you can pretty much calculate what variables you need, and you take that 2-year period to get every variable you need. Now, mind you, you'll be a slave doing this.
Yeah, but you're going to be a slave to it because your whole life is just...
Yeah, but this is the beauty of technology is you don't, in theory, have to be. You can hire someone in India to do everything you need to do, but then you're taking someone else's freedom.
Like I know a guy, Glenn. He uses mathematics and physics to, see, almost like prophesizing in a sense. But it's not really prophesizing. It's just reading an old plan. That's all it is when you look at this agenda. It's just a mathematical plan. It's just symmetries and formulas and shit.
All this shit is mathematical angles and degrees and all this shit. Like,
yeah, it's all amazing.
That's why I know, basically it's true that Hal is that's the allegory. The supercomputers running the show because it's all fucking mathematical, man. It's all. So I get it. What were you saying?
I was interested when you said earlier about the freedom of thought, right? Because that's what it should really be, like freedom of thought, to be able to move in thought, and but people today they rather have freedom of speech as a substitute of that, and they don't understand how they're being fooled right there.
Wow, good point. Good point.
Because you could say anything you want, but the thought they put into your head, and you just say whatever they want you to.
Exactly.
So they
you want to know something funny about that? You want to know? Have you guys seen the movie 2012?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Now, there was so much fiction in that movie. One fictional thing, and I know this is true. Have you ever noticed rich people sail? Like rich people sail, and they know how to use boats and shit. Like, all right. If there's a tsunami, you know that there are no waves in the middle of the ocean, so you can be in the middle of an ocean. Mass wave occurs, doesn't happen in the middle of the ocean.
Really?
There's still waves in the ocean.
No, it will not flip the boat. Now, in that movie, It flipped the boat. They're in the middle of the ocean. The mass tsunami came and flipped the boat. Scientifically, the only thing that's going to happen is all the water at the same time is going to lift.
For a tsunami, yeah.
A wave only occurs as the bottom of the ocean starts to become shallow.
Yeah.
So that's what causes the spiral. That's what causes the golden mean.
Shit. That's what they're gonna do. It's like there's like no water. It's like a hole gets blown, and then the water goes all the way down, and it seems like it's being shallow, and then it shoots back up, bang, and then it just fucking huge ass tsunami swallows everybody up. That's all they do when they make those tsunamis. They do something below ground to make it, because they understand. That's all just manipulated nature, man. That's all it is. But yeah, you could be right about that. It might not be waves in the middle of the ocean, but all the people are going to be feeling them are people who live on the edges, like on shores and shit, like New York, where I'm at, because they got tsunamis. They got tsunamis planned for the cities for people, who live on the edges, but like the middle, they have other systems of dams and shit they're gonna break down and shit like that to actually kill people who live in like the middle of the country. And they're gonna be the Great Lakes, or even using the earthquakes to the earth will just be swallowing people up, man. That's what it'll look like. They put that in a lot of movies on. They actually put that in that movie, The Lovely Bones, I was talking about. But yeah, man, that shit'll be like, I mean, that was in 2012, man. They're getting swallowed up by the earth, man. This shit's just open. They use that shit. I was reading about that in history. There's so many like civilizations that were like, Rome was one. They had earthquakes were used to kill people there. Pompeii, they used volcanoes to kill people and shit. Those things were all, because I don't know, after looking at movies and just seeing, I realized like that shit was all man-made, man. I mean, Pompeii, I know that's because when you look at how the geographic location, how it's set up like a experiment. Pompeii, when you look at it, and there's the mountains right there, and like people are just watching from the mountains, and they just decide, okay, you know what, let's just kill these people. They were just looking at them from the mountains, spying on them, and they used that allegory in it's in a Star Trek movie. It's an episode where
I personally, man, like whatever happens. I mean, it is survival of the fittest.
Yeah, but that's willing as well when you say that. Whatever happens. I mean,
No. I mean, I will. Let me reiterate. I'm willing what I can with my mental power, but the things that are occurring, like the amount of people that are negatively prophesying, is great. It's a large number. Like
they don't. And in this
well, nothing's written in stone, though. Nothing's written in stone.
In this context, they really don't matter as far as
there are many probable futures. Like I'm not saying that there's one future. However, I can't predict how strong their little mental spurts that are occurring when they're watching something and thinking negatively versus us like consciously thinking of a different future, right? Like I can't predict that.
Like all you need is like 13 people, or even more, for an effect that can change all of that.
So
that's how strong the will is.
I'll play the
That's why they
child
took so long. That's why the conspiracy took so long, thousands of years, because a lot of people were thinking like that, and then they had to slowly, over thousands and thousands and thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, bring people to Simpsons every day.
Yo, you know what were really ill experiments like on sort of disaster thinking, or like what happens when people have disaster thought. The Jehovah's Witnesses prophesied the end of the world several times, and there are things that occur within that have occurred within that religion economically. That mind you, the guy that started that religion is buried under a pyramid, but that's just a whole nother story. But basically they predicted that it would happen in the 60s, I believe, and basically everybody goes into debt. like people run into debt during disaster type thinking for some reason, right? They see ads on TV, oh, you don't have to pay until the year after, and they're like, hey, why not? I'll just get that big screen TV or whatever, you know. And,
yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the things that like occur. I think it's more, my personal opinion on it is that nothing really is going to happen. Like they are setting up for, you know, natural occurring changes that happen every 10,000 years or so, and they're going to say that they did it. Like, you know what I mean? Like in China, right? Like Japan and China at one point were connected as the sea level rose and goes up. You know what I mean? It basically separated it, but it was actually one connected landmass, and like these things naturally happen. And we're due to like a lot of solar radiation, solar changes, we're due for changes, right? And it is messed up that we are on coastal cities. But I don't think it's something that's consciously being willed. I think they're just making it look that way so that way they could just, you know what I mean, it's sort of like creating an obelisk for having a small penis, you know what I mean? Like,
no, it's being willed as far as like when you look at the structure of the system, like,
it's being willed, brother.
Like when you look at the slogans, man. Like when people say, you know, I can, yes we can, I can. It's just like it's all part of their law. Like they understand this. That we have to will that for them to do it. Like we have to want it. You know, they showed that in the movie Wicker Man. The guy came in willingly. And you know they killed him because he came in. They didn't even. They lured the guy in, and he willingly came in and on their island, and they killed him. You know.
Yeah, these people don't.
That's what gives it a
chance. They don't leave anything to chance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. And that's what gives it its full power. You know what I mean? When it's willed in.
You have to will it, otherwise, you know. If you
don't, fellas,
I'm gonna.
No doubt. Yo, I'm gonna lift off, man. It was good talking with you, man. Good talk.
No doubt.
Have a good night, brothers.
You too.
Y'all do the same.
All right. One.
Yo, who's here? Call check. I mean, who's on the call?
To me, Jared.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
I'm Ron here.
Don here. But yeah, man, like I'm not the best at like. I'm still not the best at math, but like I'm about to get into the Principalia. Have you guys heard of this or what?
Principalia. Principalia, you said?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But it's like a book of like mathematical universal understanding or some craziness like that. I think it's like either Newton. I think it's by Newton.
You ever looked into Pythagoras? Pythagoras? Yeah.
I don't know.
He's the guy that's behind all the mathematical things.
Wait, Pythagorean theorem, Pythagoras?
No, yeah.
Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared plus C
squared. That guy was. Look into that guy. He's the reason why people think like, you know, I made a post a while ago about from this guy, from this author Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. He said people will respect. You know, he said adults won't. If you tell an adult there's a beautiful, you know, house with, you know, and you describe the whole house and, you know, description, the colors, the texture, all that stuff, they won't be impressed by it. They won't really care. But if you say, "Hey, I seen a nice $800,000 house," then they'll respect it because they all, you know.
People are trained to thinking like
on the numbers. Numbers, yes. It's like when you look at the stock numbers, they just throw a number up. Oh, we're up there at 0.this%. It's just numbers, man.
I mean, I think that
they don't mean anything, really.
I'm not gonna knock numerical thinking. What I will knock is linear thinking more so than nonlinear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're thinking in terms of addition, subtraction, when there's obviously multiplication, division, exponents going on, right? Like then you have like an issue. Like there's an issue there because now you're you're thinking on to speak in grades, right? You're speaking on like an 8th grader or a 2nd grader, level of thought, when you could be thinking on a higher plane, per se. Like there's formulas for everything. Like there's formulas for putting pressure. Like look at a basic list of physics formulas and think analogously how you could use them. Right? Like force, pressure. Right? Like you want to put pressure on. There's a formula for putting pressure on somebody.
A formula for putting pressure. That's all, man. It's all chess game playing.
Mhm.
It's all making order out of chaos or whatever. And the order out of chaos is something that we all do naturally. Like when we have a thought, right? It comes to us. It's chaotic in the mind. But when it comes out, like we're making order. When actually that's what it is. A thought is just an order. It's order out of chaos. But when you try to order everything, that's when you have a problem, man. You're not letting things run their course.
There is actually there's a chart. It's a very ill chart. Like if you sit there and look at it, like you guys have a pen. I could just describe it because I never could find it online. But basically, it's like on one axis is complexity, right? So on the y-axis or the up and down part of it, it says you put complexity, and then going across on 2 poles on the x, right? So at where it would be 0, you put order, and then on the other side you put disorder. And as you go from order, it goes up in complexity, right? As you go from order towards disorder, till you reach the middle. Right when you reach the equilibrium point between order and disorder, it comes back down. So it's like an upside down U, right? So the complexity is decreasing from the equilibrium point between order and disorder. That's the highest point of complexity, going back down to disorder. Complete disorder is not that complex. Complete order is not that complex. But as you deviate from one of the two, complexity increases.
So yeah, like all disorder or chaos, it's something that as you go further down of chaos, it's just something that you have no control over, and it's something that and it has a mind of its own, distinct from you. That's what chaos and that mind is the whole universe, man. It's something else's mind that we're in, and we're just a thought in that mind.
So you're using this algebra to gain freedom, right? Do you think you're going to achieve freedom?
See, I can't. This is the thing. Like, I'm going to keep it perfectly honest with you. Like, I'm winging it. Like, I'm not even saying that I'm, like, too mad. I'm not a math genius. I'm a regular kid with a GED. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I don't know what's going to happen. All I can say is that I switched up my mode of thinking a bit and did some experimentation and found some results. You know what I mean? Like, so as I was able to take and make things analogous, like I'm saying, I got like a $200,000 scholarship, right? I have a high school diploma and I got in Columbia. Like, I use math formulas to, like, manipulate people. Like, that's what I did, like, to do it. Now, was it cool? No, there was no real benefit doing it. Besides the fact that I didn't experiment, I created a hypothesis, I tested, stayed consistent, and it worked. Now, if I say I want to become successful, right, had I not heard that golden ratio thing, I kept failing and I've been going through a couple periods of failure because I would burn out. Because I didn't realize that, like, the loftier my goals are, right, the more I try to grab control of those goals, the more I burn myself out. So that ratio, when I broke it down algebraically, it basically is just saying that as you strive towards a goal, once you reach that point it's basically the equilibrium point between order and disorder, right? Disorder is the state where I'm not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
And order would be the goal. As I'm going up and I'm reaching that max point of, to the degree I'm going up in complexity, and basically I have to delegate and create more slaves. That's if I actually want to strive for a goal. So I have to gain back my freedom by taking someone else's. Now that's the theory. Now I'm going to test the theory.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, that's
but me, I'm getting my freedom, and I'm not enslaving anybody though.
Yeah,
see, that's the
I don't
thing
think
is like.
you enslave others to gain freedom.
Well, let's look at what
no,
slave
let me
means,
reiterate.
Let me
reiterate. I'm just
slave
saying
has
slave
a negative connotation to it.
It does have a negative connotation, but I'm just saying slave without even looking it up. I'm saying it in the sense that this person has no control over what they're doing. The reason why they don't have control is not because I'm whooping them, but self-interest. Pure and simple self-interest. Yeah. And it's because they have goals.
Through his
they're
greed,
trying to reach.
You control him through his greed, you're saying.
It's not even through his greed. Like, a person could just be starving. Like, if I delegate most of the things I'm trying to do to India, right? Like research I got to do for a project in school. Instead of me doing the research, I have them do the research, right? Or if I need to do a report, instead of me actually doing the report, I just talk about it, record the whole thing, have them transcribe it, and form it into an essay, instead of me actually sitting there doing, like, typing and doing all that. Why do all that when I could just send it out there for $2 an hour? Like, but see, they're...
Well, maybe that person needs the money, you know. Like, maybe that person needs the money and he doesn't consider himself a slave, you know. Like, for me, if I didn't have to work, I wouldn't work.
Right. No,
I do work.
No, this is the thing is, like, that's the system. Like, regardless of what
the beast is everywhere, like, tied to it somehow.
If you have to work, like, if I can say, you know, if you do this, that, and the third, you'll be paid. Now, if the system didn't exist, then I could offer anything and no one would do it.
I'm looking up slave. Slave from Slavonians, Latin, slavi, one who frequently made slaves. Who were frequently made slaves by the Germans. A person held in bondage. One who has lost the power of resistance. One who labors like a slave, to drudge, to toil.
I have the Oxford here. I got the Oxford American. I got a person who works very hard without proper remuneration or appreciation. A person who is excessively dependent upon or controlled by something.
Well, save, if you use the code, save is Noel, saving. So you're saving somebody else to work by being a slave. Work
excessively hard. The verb is work, like just in the context of control. Like, the actual word control is here. Like, That's when you get a trigger eye at math, once you know that formula. You feel what I'm saying? It's like they're controlled by something, like I was saying. As I pulled their control, I gained freedom. In theory, to that ratio. I don't even know if the ratio is true. I couldn't even find it online. But since it was spoken out the mouths of two people, I'm going to try it. Because the thing that I was doing, just straight using the physics formulas, wasn't working. It was missing something. Right, and when I heard that, it triggered in my mind, okay, sit here. Like, my room is just, I don't have a TV in my room. What do I have? I have mad books, which my mattress is stacked on top of, okay? And then on top of that, 2 walls of just chalkboard paint and chalk. And that's it. That's my room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's in a desk, obviously, and a laptop.
Save, to make safe, to preserve from evil of any kind. Keep from being spent, to prevent, to hinder, expense. To
like,
hinder,
I'm trying
expense,
to,
except and including.
Like, it's whack, man. Like, I'm not like completely morally bankrupt either. Like, my family is in theory slaves to the system. Like, I'm watching people I grew up with that I can't even talk to at this point. You know, like, I can't really hold a conversation with people I grew up with.
To me, it's all about integrity, man. Like, personal, you got to burden yourself with integrity.
I'm integral to one key principle is, one, I will make sure that I am not controlled. Either way, because even if you reject the system,
you are though.
No. Listen. Let's feel me on this. If you reject the system, the system's there. If you reject the system, you're in control. Like, you're being controlled. Like, even just the rejection of the system was thought out.
The rejection of the system.
The rejection of the system was thought out. Just think about it. Like, the rejection of the system is homelessness usually.
No, it's not. It's not. That's not. Homelessness is not rejecting the system. It's just,
I mean, in theory, like a lot of the dudes
they're
will not
controlled.
conform
They're
to the
controlled.
social
Like, and
norm.
I see a lot of homeless people. They're basically in the hands of the state, man. Just like everybody else in a way, but different.
Yeah.
They're
You
like,
reject the system in your mind. That's how you reject it first.
Yeah. Thought.
Financial, that's still the system, regardless.
I mean, like, let's say in theory it was some mass energy, right? This mass energy created, or this mass energy, right, before anybody had any conscious thought, was created, right? There was something. Like, these dudes didn't create the dirt, right? They just learned how to manipulate the dirt. Like, and, you know, they created a system for being able to exert control over mass groups of people over a course of time. That's cool. But there was a root of that. There was a root of that. But they didn't grow the whole thing. They didn't create it from scratch, right? So if that's the case, then as something else is created, which they didn't actually, in theory, have control over, they had a system for maintaining. Huh?
What didn't they have control over? What are you trying to say?
They don't have control over birth. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
They can't there's no birth button.
They can't control the rules and the laws. That's what they control, the rules and the laws.
Right.
No, they don't have control
the rules and the laws go out with the lights, man.
No,
like,
they don't have control. They make their own rules, but they don't have control over rules. They understand the rules and laws, and they give us lower understanding, and they understand the true meaning of these laws.
That's why law is a wall.
Yeah.
Like,
they make their own. They mirror that by making their own laws and rules.
I was mentioning on the last call that I worked with this celebrity company, right? It's like called Bionic Yarn. They turn plastic bottles into fabric for the green movement, right? And I realized that they were trying to make me the company slave, right? I left it because I realized how they were doing it and what type of plays they were doing, and I was able to see all that, primarily because I read Don King's autobiography. But, like, once I started realizing how the game is working, like, even if you're a startup, how it has to work, how it has to operate, like, either you're going to be a freelancer, right? Like, let's say you just say, I want to start a business tomorrow. Like, you're either going to be a freelancer, you're not going to be an entrepreneur because you're working. Like, entrepreneurs use other people's money, labor, everything to create something, right? A freelancer actually works for his money, but he works for it and he's his own boss, but he's still working. Like, in order for you not to work and still amass profit, there will be other people in place in those gears churning it. And it's like, that's generally how you're going to have to think if you don't want to be the gear yourself. Or else you'll be the gear. Like, either way. Like, even if what you're doing work-wise doesn't meet your ethics, like, you're going to have to do it unless you remove yourself from that, because either way you're breaking an ethic anyway. Either way you're going to break it, whether you work for yourself or you have other people work for you. You're still going to break it.
Yeah, ethics.
But bottom line, you'll still be a slave.
But they created ethics, the system, man. There's a difference between morals, right, and conscience, your own conscience. You know, like, there's a lot of it they teach you what's right and wrong. But there's something that's ingrained in each human being that nobody has to teach you. Just know it. Right. And that's from prior experiences. But this moral, it's so flexible, man, because they change every age, every few period. It's a new set of right and wrong, and they're the ones that are always on top of what's right and wrong. And I learned, from reading all their books, they'll have books about right and wrong and what you should do and what's good and bad. But inside, it's all bullshit. It's all just a cover, but when they're actually saying something else.
I was reading a book called Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism by Max Weber. And it broke down initially in one of the chapters the difference between the economic differences between religions and how each set of ethics in a religion, even though it's basically the same book, right, but it's the interpretation of these words in these books and how these words are being interpreted to the masses that leads to certain income averages, right, like an income average of, or not even the savings rate of a Catholic versus a Protestant. Just based on the ethics they're ascribing to. in their religion. And it was it's interesting to note it because, like, I'm not particularly ascribed to any religion, but I realized that dealing in the law of averages, if you're around a select group of people, you'll have a certain income level if you have to work, right? Or if you deal with, like, it's just, like, crazy numerical shit that I'm learning. Like I'm saying, I'm sitting here just like y'all sitting here listening, learning. I'm learning and analyzing, and, like, you could reject half, you could reject a little, you could take a little, you can take it, go and experiment. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm still learning every day. Like, I learned from last conversation something that I've been missing for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
On what I've been trying to do with the math, or the reason why I studied it in the first place. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, you're using, like, see, you're the type of guy who's, like, knowledge. You have to get this knowledge. But me, I'm like, yeah, I get knowledge too, but I like I derive wisdom from that knowledge.
See, that's what I'm trying to do also, but, like, I feel wisdom is just knowledge plus experience. You know what I mean? Like, you take the knowledge and you apply it. Like, you're doing the same thing.
Like, you learn a lesson. Like, you learn. Mm-hmm. You learn a lesson. Like, you see what happens when, okay, say with women, right? You see, okay, you're a young guy, you're pretty naive. You know, you go after women, and then you find out, you know, some women break your heart, do this, and then you gain wisdom. You learn, okay, you learn what a lot of women is about, and you just, you know, it's like that thing I had, life begins at 40, man. Everything becomes more precision made at 40. Every decision is experience.
Yeah. Well, how's it go? Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is not putting it in the fruit stand.
Wait, say that again?
Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is knowing not to put it in the fruit stand.
Knowing not to put it in the fruit stand.
Right.
Yo, what the hell is that? I'll be right back, guys. I gotta go get something.
You know, I was gonna say, I'm thinking you're, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think you're looking for paradise or something. You know,
no, I'm not looking for paradise externally. I'm really not looking for it externally. It's just I was born in the middle of a very chaotic situation. So that might have a bit of a difference. Like, I'm not from the suburbs or anything. Like, I'm, like, straight inner city. Like, straight inner city projects, crack era. So it's like, it's a sort of a different kind of mental state. It's not coming from scarcity, though. It's coming from, I don't really want anything with the dough. I just want to see if I can control it to the semblance that it's being controlled.
Yeah.
Because if I can grab that level of control.
Well, it sounds like you're doing okay controlling the thing.
No, I mean, this is just...
When I talk with my friends, they always talk about, you know, how great it will be if America was like this, how great it will be if, you know, Christ came back, you know, and I'm thinking it's never going to happen. You know, they're searching for something that's never going to happen, you know. So
no. I did that. I believe that there is inevitability in certain things, right? But that's usually in things that people tell you. Like, no one's told me, like, go look or major. Like, I really did that on, intuition. Like, my internal self said, you're not good at school, so you know what you're going to do since you're going back to college? Major in your weakest subject. And learn what it is that other students have that you didn't. It could have been inevitable, but it wasn't. It could have been inevitable that I'd fail, right? But I didn't. Like, I was able to get in control. Or, like, all right, I said when I went in, I just got my GED. I'm like, all right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look up the list of schools. Looked up the list of schools, saw the income averages. I said, okay, I'm going to shoot for Ivy League. All right, cool. With a GED, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. I just it was inevitable that I fail, but I didn't. Like, there's a back door into everything. Like, and I learned this from just the math, like sitting there and just, like, and I had to get serious control of my mom. Like, there was a period where, before I actually even started the school, I just sat there and read for about a year and a half. I didn't even really go out the house. I would send when people were going out my house, I would send them to go get me stuff from the store. Like, I never left. No TV, threw my TV out, everything. And just sat there and basically reprogrammed myself, basically, using different books and methods for it.
That's kind of what I did, like, in the beginning, like, it was my circumstances. Like, what happened? Isolation
and interaction are two keys of chaos theory.
Yeah,
in isolation, you destroy things. Isolation destroys things. Interaction creates things.
I was destroying my old ties in a way, I guess, with the world. And I was creating new ties. And I was creating a new relationship with the world.
And keep it real, like right now, I'm in isolation now. Like, I'm not in New York right now. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be back during the week, but, like, I isolate myself because I need to rebuild again. Like, now I have to destroy. I have to destroy the interaction I've been doing, because even in college, I thought, like, at first my initial reaction was like, all right, college is going to be the place where, you know, there'll be some form of intellectualism, and no, there's no intellectualism in college. In fact, it's like, it's worse. Like, at least I can respect, like, dropouts, right? Because dropouts, like, they were like, all right, fuck the system. Like, even if they're broke, they're just like, fuck the system, because something in their minds said you don't need to be here. Like, most college students, even graduate degrees, they're just like carbon copies of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They're carbon copies of of nothing. Like, no substance in their life will have no...
Picture being like a doctor, where you're there for like 8 years. I mean, it's a lot. It's torture, man. It's like, it's like doing a bed, man. It's like, you know, you're going in there, they're destroying your brain, man. They're totally like taking there, reforming your brain. It's a fucked up thing, man. Oh yeah, Dana, here's a quote for you, man. I was reading this in the book. It goes, "The blow of the teacher is at first exceeding grievous, but the end of it is sweeter than clarified honey." That sounds like some Eastern shit, man. Some fucking disciple Eastern or whatever.
Yo, what's this creation? Describe creation.
You can't even put it in words. It's the first cause.
The process that started it all.
What was that?
The process that started it all.
Is it continuing? Or
it's everywhere but nowhere.
It's everywhere but nowhere. Okay.
So creation?
Yeah.
Creation. Like, I keep it real. Like, I can sit here and talk to you guys. Like, I don't talk to people, yo. Like, I barely talk to family. Like, I can't even.
Me neither.
Like, I mean, I talk to them. Like, like it's family, right? That's the ethic. But like, there's nothing really to talk about. Like, I can't sit there and talk about Tyler Perry. Like, I can't talk about a dude that's close to Jesus.
That's how they all up, man. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't sit there and do that, man. Like, it's disheartening. Like, I get into these like spells of depression, yo. And I think it's the depression that makes me so cynical. If I sound cynical, or like if I have like negative vibes, like it comes from like sort of anger.
Yeah, the cynicism. People are cynical. It's like when you look at old men, and I see this, they're very cynical, man, because they've seen so many scams and shit. It's just like, you never know when you'll be getting fooled next, man. It's just scam after scam. Things that you thought were true are not true. It's all lies. And then you see the next generation come. You see all the 4 or 5 generations under you. You see them just, 2, 3 generations under. you see them just falling for the same shit, man. It's just like it kind of deadens you, man. It hardens you. What?
What was that?
But these are the people that are going. These are the people that are going to give you what you want. You know, you're saying that you want freedom, you know, but you seem to stay away from the people, and the people are the ones that are going to give you the money, you know, the houses, everything.
No. See, this is the thing. Is like now you don't need to
you are part of
be
them.
anywhere.
You can't like you're part of society. You can't like dictate to it. You can't. You're not above it. You're part of it.
I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm looking
to be honest,
for, like,
you know what? For me, I had the same thing. You know, I'm 38 right now. When I was like in my 20s, 21, I kind of hated people. You know, the way they acted, the way they did stuff. You know, but you know, I overcame that. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that the people are the ones that are going to give you the wealth.
Yeah, Dana, remember that conversation, that Jordan Maxwell thing when he was talking with Luca?
Yeah.
And I remember he said something. He said something about the masses, and Luca was like, he's like, yeah, man, they're on Florida. He's like, man, the people are so fucking fucked up and just stuck on stupid, and like, and I just heard like this, like it was like a hatred, man, he had for.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been guilty of like being really critical of, you know, the masses, you know. But I understand though, man. Like you can't really like hate them because it's not their fault, you know.
Well, it's not even
not their fault until they wake up.
No, it's more of an anger towards.
But
it's more of an
people who are like 50, 60 years old still speaking that bullshit that kind of pisses me off because they've went through so many experiences and they're gonna still say, "Oh, I'm gonna go and vote for Obama now and watch this political." It's like, wow, it lets you know they were never there, man. They're not there. Like they just existing, man. Those type of people don't exist, man. They don't have any thought of their own, man. They're kind of, you know, like you ever hear people say, like I'll be talking about shit. They're like, oh, it doesn't mean I'm good, and I pay my tax. I'm good. Whenever they say that, like I'm good, and I have my kids, and I'm good. I take care. I pay for this school. I'm good. That's saying I follow the fucking status quo.
Yeah.
And the status quo is so relative, man. It's status quo is a system's way of thing, you know. They love that general status quo.
Yeah.
Go on and get along.
I don't even know how I'm feeling right now. Like
that's what they said in Nazi Germany when at the trials over there. They were like, you know, when they were questioning them, they were like, I was just doing my job. Just doing my job.
Yeah.
Doing my job. You know?
Yeah.
You know, that's one slogan that I've heard being repeated. Somebody's got to do it. It's a dirty job, but somebody got to do it. And that's true in a lot of respects, you know, like ants and shit, you know. And that reminds me of a Bible quote I heard. You know, there's a quote in the Bible that say that only the meek shall inherit the earth. And I think you would think it would be the people who are running it because they're actually the weakest people physically, but they don't even exist. So I guess the ants are the only ones that'll replace them or whatever. The meek shall inherit because they're the ones that care about it the most.
Right.
The ants, man, because they're sitting there and cleaning up the shit and use everything. They seem to care about it more than the fucking people, you know, above them. Or I shouldn't even say above them, but
yeah. I'm trying to finish this book proposal. I'm actually looking to get published now.
You getting a book published?
I'm writing a proposal. I'm actually going to be pushing pretty hard. I don't know if you ever heard of this, a Toastmaster.
No.
It's like a public speaker, like a certified public speaker. That's all I can say. Like it's basically a certified bullshitter. Like you get a certification in being able to communicate very well.
I actually wanted to do that. Like, do you know anything on like public speaking? Because I really want to
give me your
learn to articulate my words and
give me your zip code.
11727.
Hold on. 11727.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And that's how everything is. How we dissect the world is through numbers, man. It's insane. You know, my age. Like, people, you know, it's crazy how people can have relationships, right? Like, you could have a girl, right? Like, say you're 29 or some shit, and you meet a girl who's 18. Automatically, she's 18, and you don't even, because of that number, you won't even attempt to have a relationship or whatever, because of the number. But when you look at like the middle Renaissance period, women back then, and you compare them to women now, they were like grown adults, man.
How far are you from Stony Brook?
Like 20 minutes.
How far are you from Septucket, New York?
Septucket. That's 5 minutes away from Stony Brook, kind of.
All right. Can you make a meeting at 10 a.m.? 10 a.m. The second. But I would suggest this to you, okay? Mm-hmm. That you don't mention much about what you know. Just really try. Okay.
You just go there and be like,
because you don't know. You just size up the people, like, before you go into, like, I go to different Toastmasters just to sort of understand group dynamics of how they would treat me if I'm dressed this way versus this way, or, like, just different, like, it's that's my experimentation room, pretty much. So, yeah, I think you would like to use it the same way. Go to, the name of it is, it's every 10 a.m. Can you make it 10 a.m. on Saturday?
On Saturday, yeah, I could do that.
All right, I'm gonna send you the information on Facebook. But
I just need it's public speaking, and it's another one that's related. It's on how it's speech, how to better enunciate your words.
You need books on voice and diction. That's what I think you're asking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Voice and diction.
Yeah, just enunciating my words, because I know, like, because I'm trying to get a message out, and I think I'd have more of an effect in my speech.
I might have some of my old books from college I could give you.
Hold on, I'm sending it to you right now. But generally you can like, I say the Toastmasters is the fastest approach to developing it, because it's a systematic approach towards you developing different speech skills. So not even just, like, you see how, I don't know what dude was on here, but he was sort of like debating me a little bit. Like, it gives you the ins and outs on that, on, like,
people's tones of their voice, you're saying?
Like, not just redirect, like, yeah, like redirection, or redirection is like a key thing. Like, there's basically, when you go to the meeting, once you sign up, let's say you sign up and then you just go to the meeting, but you don't sign up to give a speech, right? Mm-hmm. You get called up automatically for a game called Table Topics, where they give you a random subject, and then you have to give a 2-minute speech on it, just off the top of your head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to do that stuff in school.
So it's like, yeah, hold on, I'm sending it to you right now. Okay, I got you right now. But I love it personally because it like it prepares me for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You might actually meet some enlightened types in there. I mean, like, I actually met one dude he's pretty cool, but he's like weird, man. Like I don't really get into deep conversation with him about anything, because like when I walk in there, just being an African American male, young, right? Mm-hmm. Like, certain things are assumed, and I got out the habit of trying to prove anything different from what people automatically assume. Mm-hmm. Like, I totally lost that habit, because it's like, if you're dumb enough to automatically assume someone's intelligence level, then I'm going to play on it. For profit. I know it's fucked up, but, Still me.
Yeah, my profit is not, money. My profit is,
My profit, I just use the dough to enjoy myself.
The experience, the experience, the wisdom, the when I'm when I have integrity with myself, I actually meet
things you could take
real people in my life, man. You know.
I mean, I'm doing that now. You feel what I'm saying? Like, integrity is still there, but it's like if I'm learning certain things.
I guess it depends on what your definition of integrity is.
Like, yeah.
Integrity is just sticking to your principles. What are the principles? Like, there's a root to that. Like, integrity has a root. The root is the principle. You can be, Hitler had integrity. You know what I mean? Like, anyone can have integrity has a positive connotation, but it can be rooted to any ethic. Hold on.
Basically, there's any talk of manipulating people in like the presence of like us is not gonna fly. Or with me anyway. You know, so it's not gonna be a topic that we're gonna be like, oh yeah, tell me more.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this question. How about manipulating a manipulator?
It comes down to how much time do I want to waste in a day on something like that. You know, there's other things that I have to do that don't involve such things. You know, so
like what?
Well, trying to, fix some problems that are have a timeline.
Sure.
You know.
I mean, in theory right now, anything that you have to do that's outside of, how do I say it? Anything that's outside of this realm, right? This realm of enlightenment that you have to do is caused by a manipulator.
Yeah, we know that.
If that's the case, then why wouldn't you want to study what they're doing to you?
I do know what they're doing to me, but I'm not saying, okay, I'm going to reverse this and use it on other people to make money from them. It's a totally different thing.
Well, I'm not talking about using it on people who are weaker than me.
You talking? I mean, anyway, however you want to justify it is great.
No. See, if at the end of the day, like, see, the only thing with me, like, see, what manipulating people, like, see, me personally, like, it's something, there's a voice inside me that says, that this doesn't sit right with me, so I can't do it, because I've learned, and through my experience, when I listen to that voice, I seem to be going in a better direction, I guess, because that voice has never led me wrong, so why not listen to it? That's right. My experience. But if you in your mind, if you don't have that voice, then whatever.
Yeah, I have less of a Martin Luther King approach. I have more of like a Malcolm X-ish kind of approach, where it's like if somebody smacks me in the face, then I'm gonna smack them back.
Yeah, I'm not saying I won't smack somebody back either, man.
Right?
I'm not saying I want to defend myself.
Let me ask you a question. If you're smacked in the face, this is both of you, would you smack somebody back?
Out of rage, probably.
Probably.
But if talking, if it's a talking level, we can talk all day, talk shit. Because I'm more, I am kind of aggressive. I can be aggressive, but I can be passive too, man. Like, it depends on the situation.
It depends on the situation.
Pick your battles, man.
Yeah, you pick your battles, but like, I don't go looking for trouble. I don't go looking for it, and I don't go.
Like, the two things that I've heard in this the two elements that I've heard with being against sort of the things that I've mentioned, and this is just in learning, so I'd like to learn. But the two things I have noticed from two different people who have been sort of against the things I've said has been defeatism. It's like inevitability. It's inevitable that these things are going to occur. It's inevitable that you're going to be manipulated. So just deal with it. And on top of that, it's not like it's just complaining about it, but there's no real action besides a self-interested approach to it. And the self-interested approach has nothing to do with money. It has to do with I'm going to separate myself or isolate, which is in theory what I'm doing.
I mean, any way you're going to use the system to make money, basically the only reason you're making money is because someone is giving it to you or to your boss so they can give to you. If you're in sales, somebody might want this, but you're going to try to get a little bit more out of them so you can have a bigger, check at the end of the week. If you're a doctor, you're injecting them with this crap or whatever, so handing them pills that it's not curing them, but it's going to keep you getting money and keeping the drug manufacturers having money. So it's all like weird. In your mind,
I guess
that's how
it
the game
depends.
works.
I guess this is what they discuss in philosophy and ethics, right? Because it's like certain logics and shit where you can guide people down. Like, because with this conversation, we could say, well, you know what matters? It all depends on the goal of your actions, and then that comes. Well, then justify the means, and then but then. Then it gets worse and worse though, because if everybody thinks the end justifies the means, man, you could be, that's what Hitler thought, man. The ends justify the means. Doing what he thought he was saving, but but when you look into it, you find out it wasn't that just that he thought that. It was actually something that other people wanted, man. It was population control. They wanted to kill off people under the guise of like this religious thinking of Nazism or even older than Nazism, but whatever.
Everyone's situation is slightly different. My situation, I'm the patriarch of my family. I'm the oldest male, so it's like I can't be passive. Like I can't be defeatist. Like if I do, then it's pretty much a wrap. Like I'm the oldest male with my last name. I don't know if that situation's similar on your end, but in my end,
in my family, like it's a little different. Like my father's side, really aggressive guy. The guy grew up with fighting since he was young, stuff like that, and I feel that growing up, the abuse that he got through life, I got it, and I tried to stop that with me, and end it with me, because I seen it manifest in myself with me and my brother at the time. Well, a couple of years ago, one time I got so mad, my brother got into a fight, I just smacked him, and I made me look at myself. I was like, wow, man, I'm my father. And I hated my father. And that hate ate me up, man. I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm going to make a conscious decision not to follow that same program, go down that same road where he went, his parents went. And that comes from slavery, that type of thinking, where the slaves beat their kids. The slave masters beat the slaves, and then the slaves think that's good to do that to their kids, and they beat their kids, and they think that that's equated with love or whatever you want to call it. It's equated with affection, because they don't want to admit that that's bad. They can't admit that to themselves, That's how my father was. Like he was just, it was insane, man, how he was, man. But I found out later on he had some type of mental problems and linked to that. But me, I just chose not to continue that cycle, man. Not to continue, Plus I had a different life than my father. My father grew up in the poor country, and it's, I guess it's your situation there. You're living in Brooklyn over there, and the city is complete competitive nature. Everything, man. It's all about everybody's trying to be on top. Everybody's trying to be king of New York. Everybody's trying to be. It's a rat race, man. It's a rat race.
Personally, I'm trying to leave, actually. That's the only reason why I'm so focused on profit is because I know that, in theory, I could balance it, but it'd be good to have a nice nest egg when I leave.
Well,
you probably don't need me to say this, right? But you're being open with us, right? So I think, I think you can do, I think you should follow your own path, and take the best of what we say if it fits,
Yeah, you're going to learn your lessons, man. I can't tell you how to live your life. I'm not going to be here and be like, yo, well, you should be this way, I'll give you my experience with things, but you're going to learn your lessons by the actions you make. You're gonna get lessons from them, and it's up to you if you want to continue going one way. If it's like it's like a girl. Well, I don't know. You do something, you drive drunk and you crash a car. Are you gonna just keep driving drunk? You know,
right.
or you're gonna, you learn your lesson. Okay, I won't do that again. I won't, because you're gonna, because your actions that you're doing now, like, see where they'll take you 5, 6 years from now. See where they'll take you, in the long run, 10 years, and you'll learn, like, wow, was that wise to do that?
Or it depends on where you want to stop. If you want to, because you might get to a level and, like, you know what, I want to go even higher. I want to go even higher.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find out where you want to set these limits to, or will you just turn into them? That's the thing. If you want to turn into them,
like that movie.
You're playing with their rules. You're playing with everything that they gave you. This is the world set up for those type of people. It attracts those type of people. So if you're going to go into that, open that door, just know that those people are going to be in there with you, and it's going to make you even more competitive in that manner. And then you're going to have to just think of different ways to scheme in those type of people that are used to scheming everybody else.
Yeah, and then you're in a group of thieves, man.
You're going to need one of those
thieves and shit, man.
No.
Alibaba,
This is the
40 thieves.
This is the thing that makes the
You're going to need one of those Texas Instrument calculators, then.
Yeah, but then
wait. This is the thing that makes it the equation so important. Is that I do understand that I don't want to be around the people. That's why, like, I'll get a $200,000 scholarship, but then I'll drop it in a heartbeat. Like, money is not the controlling factor. The controlling factor is just the fact that I don't want to be controlled, and I want to have the ability.
Which you need
to control
money
my situation.
but in your mind, you need money to be have control. It's like that movie. I keep talking about that movie, Holy Mountain, right? It's
not about having money. The having money is not about having.
You said
money.
you want your nest egg, but you need money.
You need a nest egg to go. It's not even like if I have certain credentials and a nest egg, right?
In your
I can
mind,
do whatever I want, wherever I go. Wherever I go, I can do what I want. That's the key. It's not about having excess wealth. It's about having the ability to do what you want.
If you want a comfortable lifestyle, you can't. Could you handle a really simple lifestyle?
Yeah, I do right now. I'm a serious minimalist right now.
That's not minimalist, man. I can tell you that right now, man. I know people who live more minimalist than that, man. Way more. First of all, no electricity. Raising ghosts and shit, man. Yeah, in Haiti, man.
They
have none of that. They eat their food with cold, but yet they have a simple and in their own minds they're happy, man. They're not really.
See, I do that. I have no problem doing that if I have the land, like, to do it, and no one's going to come on my land, and I don't have to murder to keep my land. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be in a third world country doing that.
Mhm.
You feel what I'm saying?
But like I was saying, before I forget, in that movie Holy Mountain. I don't know if Dana, you remember all those, those rich, basically leaders of like corporations or whatever. They weren't really talking about corporations, but like they all got together. You notice, right? They all got together, and what was the ritual the guy made him do? He made him take all their money and burn it.
Yeah.
Because
around the table, right?
Yeah, because to transcend, because they have to realize that was actually controlling them. Yeah, they were, had to get rid of that. And that's the truth. And
it's debate, man. It's the common denominator, the lowest common denominator. So.
What, money?
Yeah.
Money is the common denominator?
Yeah. The lowest common. Yeah, in their world, this is Don. In their world, the people who run the system, in their world, it's actually the most valuable thing to them. It's shit, man. That's why in that movie, Holy Mountain, the guy's like, I can give you gold, and he makes some shit in the jar, and
copperlight.
Yeah, copperlight, because that's everything you ever learned in your whole life, even in past life. Everything, every experience is in that shit. They can tell everything you ate, everything in that shit. What can a dollar bill, $100 prove? Because you can look at money from like Sumerian civilization and be like, what? Look at this shit. This ain't shit. It doesn't mean nothing to you. It meant something at that time. Because that's untruth. Yeah,
it ain't shit. It's definitely not.
Because only untruth goes out of style, but the truth. It's forever, man.
Is that because they manipulate the money system?
How do you guys feel about procreation?
It's a good
like
thing,
children,
man.
like having children.
That's what nature intended, but but procreation within civilization is different, man. It's like you have a child,
social
and it
engineering,
costs this, and it's fucked up, man. They totally they make it a burden for you just being you trying to be you, man. You're trying to do your thing, and then they make black people look bad. Oh, look, he has all these baby mamas and all this shit. And really, what he's doing, he's just having children. Like he's just following what his DNA is telling him, you know. And these women, they're not real women. They're all fucked up and changed and shit. And they're like, it's totally like, it's crazy. They just alter certain important things in our nature. And then, you know, we keep going that same direction as if we were trying to be natural, but we're not. It's all fucked up, man. It's just, you know, that's manipulation. That's what manipulation is, man. It gets so deep, man, because they do it, because you're doing it for control, but they do it for control. But, you know, first you think it's money. That's why a lot of people think, oh, it's money. But then as you get up and, you know, you rise, you realize, yo, this is not about money at all, really, man. It's not about money. Money doesn't mean shit.
It's power over slaves.
Yeah, that's where the real power. You know, it's all about power, control.
See,
power.
The thing is that's where the math formula comes back, and it keeps getting ignored. That as you chase power, you lose freedom. My interest is freedom, but as I go towards freedom,
it
can go
freedom?
either way.
Freedom
Wait.
of thought, right?
It's the ability to control that which you will, or to have your own will. Just to have your own will. Like, if you have to go to work, you lost your will. Like, as soon as you have to do anything that has to do with money, you lost your will. For whatever period of time. Now, let's say that's 8 hours a day. That's 1/3 of your life. 1/3 of your life is completely gone. So that, like, even if you're arguing against it,
yeah, man.
I've
been thinking about, like, how much of my life goes to my job, man. Like this thing, like, I look at it like they got it all mapped out. You have 24 hours in a day, right? They know how to body react. Okay, you're at this age or whatever. You're 20-something years old. You're 24 hours in a day. You go to work. You work 8 hours a day. You come home. You're gonna be tired, so you're not gonna, you know, you trying to rest, and just you having your own thoughts to yourself is like only a few hours, because maybe you probably sleeping or whatever. So they try to monopolize on all that free time you could have to yourself.
TV, sports.
Yeah, they try to just take over all that time, you know, and just, you know, try to take it all away.
See,
And when you're by yourself, they try to make you feel guilty for being by yourself. No, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be out, hanging out with everybody else. You know, you should be going partying. They try to make you feel guilty, man. It's fuck.
I haven't had a gig in about maybe 3-4 months, but I'm still able to travel. I'm still able to do all the things that I want to do. Not to the degree that I want to, because I want to own property somewhere else. But the formulas have worked to a degree where I do have some semblance of freedom for a period of time. And not even full freedom, but partial freedom. Like, I can breathe. Like, I can eat. I'm eating. I can breathe. I can drink. I can do whatever I want to do right now. That's going to run out, and then I have to give up my freedom again and follow the formulas. But
yeah, I know, man. I got to give up my freedom, too, every day, man. Almost every day. Got to go to work, and I have to go there, and I have to give these people fucking poison for their fucking body. I got to sit there. And that's why I try to avoid customers, man. They be asking me. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm like, damn, I'm supporting this shit. Like I'm serving these people alcohol and shit like that. I'm like, damn, man. I feel that's why, like, when I have my free time, every day I don't care. Like, I have to benefit creation. I have to benefit creation. I have to do its will, no matter. Like, I have to make time every day.
Let me ask you a question. We're all gentlemen of, or in theory, I guess I'm not, but integrity to the truth of the situation, right? If you have integrity to the truth of the situation, you know what the situation is, but you have to work. Don't you feel that's like you're forced to lapse your integrity for 8 hours a day?
Yeah. I feel like that. I'm telling you, I feel like that. And that's how I say, I'm a slave. A slave. That's what in the dictionary it says. Slave is who loses their resistance. Like you can't. I don't have any. In that sense, I guess I don't have any leverage, man. They have more leverage over me. Like,
so what would you do?
Have money or whatever day-to-day things, money. But I've heard, if you do things the right way, like you will survive, man. Like it's like say you had $1 million, right? What would you do with that $1 million if you had $1 million right now?
In actuality,
yeah,
I would. Right now, I'd probably just put it in a mutual fund and let it chill. Off that 10% of interest, I'd live. That'd be, in theory, $100 grand after capital gains tax. It'd probably be about 60.
That's
capital
different
gains
to me and you. See, that's
well,
different to me and you. Because you had $100 million. If you had $1 million, you give it right back to them. That's what you're doing. Me,
yeah.
I'd give it out to everybody else, and I'd be good. Rest of my life,
why?
Cause I'd be like, yo, look. I'd be like, yo, listen. I give you $100,000, man. Like if I'm down and out, can you look out for me? Can you let me stay, sleep in your house, or do whatever, like. But you're talking about as soon as you get it from them, you're giving it right back to them.
No.
That's what they do. They get you to give it back and put it in mutual funds, and then what they do, and then they have stock market crashes. And they take it right
then the stock market crashes, right?
What?
No. Then the stock market crashes.
Yeah, and then they take it all anyway. That's what
it depends
they do.
on which mutual fund you actually grab and how attentive you are of it.
What happened?
Because it's really the stock market is just
but then you're talking
flow. It's not really when one person. Well, this whole economic crisis is something different that they're trying to do. They're literally just trying to suck the value out of everything. But generally, the way it works is if one person becomes poor in economic efficiency, another person becomes rich, right? Just like if I get $1 million and I give it to someone else became rich because I lost out.
Yeah, it's winners and losers, man. For every winner, you got fucking 10 losers, man. That's not a system I would like to actively participate in. Now you're willingly, I'm just the job that I do is not. I don't do it willingly. I do it because I kind of I have to do it. I have no choice in the matter right now, But
sure.
I'm not gonna willingly go and play their game, man. I try to be as much as physically out of the system. I'm still in the system,
What if?
But I am planning to be out of the system.
So you won't leave the chance the fact that you could get out the system if you actually were evolved, right? Because in theory, your mind is evolved higher than most people that are in that system. But if you're playing it the same as most people in that system, then you get the same result.
Then you're the same as them. That's where integrity comes from.
It's like
you're playing that game. I'm not playing that chess game that you're talking about. The chess game you're talking about in the beginning. I'm not playing that
you
game.
still have to go and talk to these people. You still have to be around these people.
I try to talk to them as less as possible, and I do talk to people, but
I feel it.
It's like I still do find people out there who.
I'd rather play for. This is my thing. I'd rather play for 5 years or 10 years than be around these people for 60. Straight up and down. That's how I look at it.
You ever heard the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions?
Shit, this is not good. I don't have good intentions.
Huh?
This is not a good intention. This is not a good intention. I'm not happy about
I'm saying,
you're
thinking in the bigger picture, I'm saying, right? In your mind, you're thinking, okay, it's like a hitman, right? Hitman's like, I'm going to kill all these people, but I'm going to get out after this. But, you're still in the act of, creating hell, though.
in theory, it depends on what you're doing and how you're playing it. If you're reading ahead of the situation, then you have a chance. I can't be such a defeatist to say that I'm gonna lose. Even if I do lose, even if I do lose, who cares? But why would I be a defeatist?
I didn't want the conversation to really be talking about what I think you should do with your life, because
no, it's
that's
not
what it's about.
That's not what the conversation is about. All I'm saying is that I've heard a general like earlier we were talking about 2012, right? And when I said, like, whatever happens, right? Everybody jumped on it. But in theory, that's the mentality that's being portrayed on a life level from everyone that has said basically you can't do anything, you're going to lose. If you play the game, you're basically going to, like, that's the same mentality. It's the same defeatism.
But we didn't say we weren't doing anything about it, though.
Like I do something. Like I know that's like something I learned. That one philosophy they call existentialism. Like I know from personal experience that what you do does make a difference.
Right.
People, I've done things. I look at the things that I've done in my life, and I've seen the people I affected. I know it works, man. I see what happens. Other people out there, the things that they do, and all the people I told, there's no point in fighting it. There's no point, and I see what they did though. Going against all the odds, man, it did make a difference, man. So I know.
Well, no. I'm not saying that every drop, every pebble you throw in the pond has wave effects. It has long-term effects, right? Just like generally, if I have a conversation, like we're having these conversations now. So in some regard, we all have a general consensus that there's things going on that are unseen, right? Like we all have a general consensus there's an unseen hand in pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But it's what that unseen hand is. I think that's where it's like is gray matter, like that you can't pinpoint. Like I personally feel the unseen hand is something that has nothing to do with people in control. I think I personally feel it's a mathematics that people have been trying to understand over time. And some people have been able to grab a rein on that mathematics, a strong rein on it. But I don't think they own it. That's how I feel about it. Most people feel differently. I don't know. And I can also say that I have failed a few times for a semblance of success. But the success will be, it'll be menial. Like it won't be big. It's just like once the goal is done, then it's completely boring. It's boring. It's done. It's over. There's something else to do. There's always something else to do, and that's where control and my lack of freedom is. There's always some next hurdle. There's always this one mass hamster wheel that I'm physically trying to get off of. I'm not going to stop trying to get off that hamster wheel. I'm not going to keep running around it either, just because I'm trying to, I'm going to try to, how do I say it, I'm going to attempt to be as enlightened as possible by not playing this game, but I'm still going to run on the hamster wheel. Like, I can't do that. Like, if I'm saying right now that there's an unseen hand that I believe will give you a chance at maintaining enlightenment and maintaining integrity, I believe it's there. But I just feel I personally feel that you have to not be a contributor to their game.
Okay, like listen,
there's
ways of making money, right? Where you don't have to. There's ways of making money where you can still have your personal integrity, right?
Right.
Like sales,
I'm not
stripping. But you don't have to manipulate people either, like selling.
I think you
right?
have,
in a way, it is manipulate. If you want to get cut down to, say you're a salesman, right?
You don't have to.
The person doesn't have the
idea. Why would you not manipulate your manipulator?
Of buying that, but you put the idea in the person's head, but not all salesmen have to do that. Like you can have, a person comes, they call you, or I don't know how it works, but say you're selling something, you could, you're showing, you're saying, hey, you should buy this, but it doesn't have to be something. You don't have to sell them something that you don't believe in, like selling them something.
All right, let me give you a for instance when I say manipulation, because I'm using that word very loosely, and I guess the negative connotation of the word, because of what other people have used it or how they've used it is throwing you off. So let me reiterate. If I go outside and sell something, let's say product X, I wear a suit while I sell product X. I'll probably have more sales than if I wore a do-rag and baggy jeans selling product X. That is a form of manipulation. It's the same product. Like that, if people consciously are following systems, right? Consciously following systems, and they're following systems, and you would be selling the product to these same people, why would you not maximize your profit knowing the systems, studying the propaganda? Why would you not use it if you're selling the same product to the same people? Not selling them snake oil, selling them something that in theory would contribute to society. Product X, same product. Just different packaging, different labeling that you know works. Why wouldn't you do that?
It's self-defense, isn't it?
What was that?
I said that's self-defense. You're saying that why would you not use that? And I'm saying, well, I think it's kind of logical. If a person hits you, you hit them back.
Right.
If they're hitting you from the outside and you know how to hit them, we'll go ahead and hit them. Self-defense. It's
like the old battle with the God and the devil. It's like, we shouldn't do that. Well, and the devil's like, why not?
Right.
It's you can argue at it all day, but the only real answer you're gonna get to those things is like look at the long-term effect.
Right.
As a community. Now, if you're doing good of society, now
it's
what's
basically
good of society?
Are you producing more than you consume?
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying like if you're doing the good of society, right?
Mm-hmm.
People like Plato and all, and they talk about the good of society. But what's society geared towards? If society is based off of the dollar, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
It's going down the gutter.
So you couldn't contribute to something that's already going downward.
You can contribute to that society, but that's just going to help it go down just as much quicker. It's not
right.
You know what? Can I say something? I think the reason most people can raise a family, is because people on top, the top people in business, top people in government, they're honest, and they want to do the right thing, and they're fighting to do the right thing. I think that's why people can raise families. There is evil out there, but there's still some peace and some good, and I think that's the reason.
Yeah.
So
there's people in the system who they think they're doing the right thing because they're ignorant. And a lot of people like being ignorant, so they won't have to accept some responsibilities of things.
Knowing that comes with knowing.
Yeah, it comes with knowing. That's a burden that you carry, because when you start to know, you got to at the same time keep your integrity. And like some people can't go along with it. They're like, well, I can't do this anymore. I know now. Some people would be like, fuck it. It's like that movie. You remember that movie? With Angelina Jolie, where they train the guy. The guy's like,
the serial killer one, or whatever.
Yeah, they're all assassins and shit. And at the end, before the guy's like, fuck the code.
He said what?
There was a code that they all had to follow. It was almost like a code of integrity or whatever. And at the end, the guy's like, fuck the code. Because they thought they were all doing it for the greater good, and they find out they're all doing it for the greater evil or whatever. And they're like, you know what? Fuck the code. And then the one lady was like, nah, and killed everybody. That was a stupid
Yeah, I mean, basically, this comes down to, you see the burning building, do you throw the gas on it, or do you try to save what's inside first that has meaning and value, that could be shared with others in the future, or put gas on it and let it all go and say, fuck it, well, I'm contributing this gas, this is my contribution,
And then, I guess valuation comes into things, but then people have different types of values, man. Like, different values. Like,
if you know,
then who are we to really say, like,
I think what it is, if you work
right and wrong,
Oh, that's what, yeah.
What?
Values change, man.
Yeah, they do.
What?
Depending on your circumstances.
That's why, like, the reason why we're all fucked up like this is because we don't have archives of our own past, man, to let us know. about mistakes. They stole that from us. They stole reality from us.
Right.
And now we don't even have, all we have is history. A pack of lies to judge about. And then we keep wondering why we keep making these mistakes, man.
That's why it's doomed to repeat itself.
Yeah,
Doomed.
it's just eternal recurrence. Like, it keeps happening, again and again and again and again. It's a formula that they see that works, and they keep doing it. Because why change the formula if you know it works?
Because how I see it, man, it's like I see the system, this whole way of living, whatever this exists, it's pretty much done. This is the end of it all, right?
Yeah.
That's how I see it. So I'm looking at it like, well, it's the end of it all. What do I do from here? Now that I know what's going on, what's the next step? Do I continue to go as I was, or do I take whatever time I think I have left and try to contribute in a different way? Which is basically more on a personal level. And with doing that, it affects other people. Kind of like.
Let me tell you a story of somebody I know that had good intentions that ended up very capitalistic and were paid. This dude, he owns a company. The company intention was basically, save the environment, right? Because he was, told that he needed to save the environment. He tried to figure out a way. And he developed a patent that, in theory, would reduce methane gas by removing certain things from the environment. So he does that. He creates a patent. He creates the product. But the infrastructure basically does not allow for environmentalism in any regard. Now, mind you, environmentalism is not something that's necessarily needed, but, he thought it did, and he had the good intentions, but whatever. Now, basically, any environmental product, period, cannot be environmental. The reason why is because if it's made anywhere outside of the community it's being sold, then it has to be shipped. It has to be shipped on barges, then from those barges on trucks, which has environmental cost, per se. So if you do sell a product and you make money from it, and it's environmental, automatically, whatever is being removed is being put back. And it's not being put back in equal proportions. It's being put back dramatically. There is no offsetting. Like, you can't offset, like, environmental harm in theory, even though that's not really something that you should worry about. But, like, he's paid, but the original intention itself just, it went out the window. Like, maybe at one point Alex Jones was trying to, stop something. You know what I mean? But
no, what it is a guy like Alex Jones, he was always set up to do what he did, When you look at the name that he was given, that name tells it all. And you just see, like, he's one of them. He's one of them. And then he sees him and his people are good. That's how he sees it. Like, okay, well, at least I'm telling these people. He's probably weighing it out in his mind. Well, I'm telling them this at least. But then he could be ignorant himself of a lot of things. I think because if you do know the whole big picture, if you truly know the big picture, how everything works, you have no choice but to do what I'm doing, because you just be screwing yourself. If you really care about serving yourself, you would do this, because it's supposed to be you serve almost creation to serve yourself. You serving creation is the ultimate long-term thinker, man. It's by serving it, but you're serving everybody else.
Your life, my eternity.
So like a lot of people say, I used to have a conversation all the time. Guys, I used to go to the gym with. They're like, oh yeah, he's like, I just want to do something great and be like remembered in stone forever and blah blah blah. I'm like, man, I don't care if I'm remembered by people or whatever. I want to be remembered by what created everything else. Because when I die, like my soul, my substance, my DNA.
Your soul.
Something else decides to remember that.
Mm.
You know, and I don't want to. You know, and I'll live on through eternity, man. And that's
right.
the greatest reward I can ever receive.
Mm.
But that's my way of thinking, I guess.
Not a bad. I'm not even saying I'm not countering anything besides just the fact that I can't say that I know anything. At this point, all I'm doing is just being completely awake to the degree that I can be. You know what I mean? And using experimentation with having goals, right? I have goals that I have to meet, daily goals. Experimentation is a means of saying, okay, if I'm reading this, is this completely true? Well, let me test it out in the real world and see if everything I'm reading is completely true. Otherwise, there's no point in reading it. It's just empty time.
Well, it just seems like the conversation, it's like we're putting each other's will on each other in a way, we're.
No, not even.
It's like
you gotta have a think. If you're gonna have a think tank, you gotta have numerous types of thinkers. That's how I see the conversation anyway. It's the mad different thinkers, mad different thought processes, and each has its purpose. Whatever that purpose is, will unfold eventually. But each personality, each person that dials in theory, has each meeting itself had a purpose. Each interaction, you know what I'm saying? It leads somewhere. It's a ripple.
Yeah, I'm learning from you too. You're teaching me, and I'm teaching you. But
exactly.
I don't want to be. And I know you're probably taking what we're saying and you're applying it in your way in your life. You're like, well, I can use this probably to do
well,
this.
It's not just about utility for profit. I guess I'm just saying that because that's what I'm.
Because I know I see how you think. I see how you think. I've read those same books, Art of War and stuff like that. Things those generals. They play a position where you just it's almost like a position where you could be using somebody like a helper, right? A helper of somebody who's more powerful than him will just go and use it. He'll just be quiet, yes, master, watching him, learning, and the whole time plotting on him and shit, man. To gain.
I keep it real. I study war. The only reason I study war is because I feel and I don't study just the art of war. Is not even you want to really study war, you get the NATO textbooks that they use now. You don't get some shit from 3,000 years ago. Yeah, you get the NATO textbooks now because the war is just a scientific progression, right? You get guns and then you go colonize the place. That's before when it was just swords and swords, you couldn't go colonize the place. But when guns come, then you can go colonize the place. So it's just science. It's science. It's math. Just politically expressed in a violent fashion. But it doesn't have to
high
be
sciences. These sciences are really old. Of controlling mass populations. This stuff was known from studying humanity. See, that's what. See, these are science.
It's just the means. The means is the more evolution.
Yeah. Science is when you ever heard the term you could reduce something down to something. Because when you're taking away something valuable by reducing it to a science. That's what Neanderthal or the people who run the system. That's what they were all about. It was pure scientists, man. Think of this scenario. There's clan mother and there's Neanderthal. They're both living side by side, and clan mother's just going, with her nature. And Neanderthal's a straight scientist, and they have a fight. And then Neanderthal says, oh, hold on, since he's a scientist, he starts to use her own nature of, like, being a mother and being, you know, taking care of people and shit like that against her. He understood her mind and used that against her, man. That's so cruel, I think, you know, to do that to somebody. You know, it all starts from somebody who hates themselves, man. People who want to have power, want to have control. You know, they don't like themselves, man. So they take it out on the rest of the world, man. You know? So that's what all institutions are. It's the people who, it's the sadomasochism. It's people who abuse each other. You know, even molest and rape each other. All types of institution groups, brotherhoods, secret societies. They do this to each other, and it's all a sexual abuse system. You know, it's actually how they sexually abuse each other. It's actually a technique that they do, because they abuse. Say they have a little boy priest coming in the order or whatever. They'll sit there, abuse him, rape him, whatever, and like the kid will grow up and then like he'll like just hate himself, and then he'll do that to the other people below him, and it just goes on, and they become like, that shit does something to the person, you know.
Right.
They abuse them like that, like they turn into like, that's what they, you know, you can look at hip hop, they like that, man. They sit there, you want to get up, but you sucking somebody's dick. You doing something, man. They're raping you, man. I'm sure Jay-Z, you know, I'm sure he fucking got fucked somehow. I know he's doing something that would totally destroy. I know there's something on camera that would destroy his career if it got out. I know it's on camera. They did it to R. Kelly. So R. Kelly probably didn't, you know, didn't do something that they didn't like. They put him right back in line. Because notice he didn't go to jail, right? Because he probably was like, all right, I'm going to shut the fuck up now. You know, I do everything you want, God. That's what you got to say. You know, there was a convict I seen on the news the other day. Guy had, like, some shit, like, he got, like, some charge where he's doing life or whatever. They were going to execute him. Yo, the guy knew how the system worked, man. You know what he did? As soon as he got in the court, he just started singing church hymns, praise the Lord. He knows, man. Like, all you got to do is come to Jesus, and he'll save you. That's what they mean. Like, because Jesus is their will, man. That's their, you know. People think that's good and shit, man. But coming to Jesus is like selling out, basically. But whatever.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about publishing a book that would tell everyone how to manipulate the education system to a degree where you'd be able to pretty much do whatever you wanted?
Feel about publishing a book about what?
What was that?
How do I feel about publishing a book about what?
About manipulating the education system, sort of in a way that they're manipulating you, but just back on them.
I would buy it.
Have you ever read John Taylor Gatto?
Who?
Or John Taylor Gatto? You ever read him?
John Taylor Gatto? No, I haven't.
Oh, wow. You should really look into that, man.
Yeah. Yo, I need you to send me a book list. I need all y'all to send me a book list. Find me on Facebook. I'm on Jared's Facebook. I'm Don Duval Patterson.
I mean, he even talked about, like,
just send me what y'all think
math
I should
classes
be reading.
and shit.
He
talked about math basically being like the reason why it's looked at as so complicated, because it's basically like a filtering mechanism for a certain character type. So certain types of people will gravitate towards that and excel in that. So they have a certain like brain function that they're looking for a specific task. So those people will go towards the math jobs and towards that. It's like a filtering mechanism. That's all that stuff is, right? So it seems complicated to most because your brain doesn't work in that way. And with college or any type of like public testing, if they basically follow 7 different methods, that they're looking for 7 different types of information. So you can have like a paragraph or read a story where there could be a billion different interpretations of it, but they're only looking for 7. And the better you answer those 7, the higher your score will be on a test, on a standardized test. That's all that is. So.
Yeah, you got to send me that. Let me write this down just in case you don't send it. Hold on. With John, who got him? John
Taylor got him. Like, I have a.
It should come up, right? Does he have a bunch of books or just one book?
Yeah, he has books for free. You can go on his site, and he tells you, like, there's a store. What's the one, the 6 lesson school teacher?
7 lessons.
7 lessons? Well, I have it on my blog. I could probably find it. But yeah, this 7 lessons is like very, very important. Like, it shows you like every technique, like what, like when you're in the class.
It's from the Prussian school system. Basically, it comes from Prussia, our public school system. They found out that was the best way to control and manipulate slaves, so that they would just be producers and consumers instead of actually thinkers. So it's basically just a way to like turn people off on like a mass scale, turn them into thieves. Through the education. So that's basically what our school system is. And it's also like how you're trained. Like it's that social pressure. Like you're in school, and maybe you're asked to read, and you don't think your skills are high enough. So like it makes you feel lower. It's all like on purpose. And even the fact that there's bells in school. Like every time like that bell goes off. Like
you're being trained like a rat.
It's messing you up. Like you're having like a in-depth conversation. Okay, all of a sudden the bell rings. Boom, now you have to stop and go do something else. I guess it totally messes you up psychologically. Totally fucks you up.
Yeah, or when they class you with just your age group. Here, you're grade 1. You're grade 2. You go up through life and you only fuck with people who are 18. Right. If you're 18. It doesn't
allow you to access information from older people or younger people. Keeps you in no
continuity.
Right. So they can tell you what the past was.
Until I got them.
Man. Or even things like, how you try to go to the bathroom and leave class. That's even put in there. Like, he put that in there. Like, all types of shit, man. Like, how you get a gold star, you're A, like, they make you, like, think, you're this human being who's growing, and you're an A, you're a B. You're fucking more than all. You let them limit you to a fucking letter or whatever. You're supposed to be great.
And that's only in the common, like the public school where, like, the elite, they have, like, a different kind of schooling because they're meant to, run the ship of state.
Yeah.
So their classes are more geared towards them, like unlocking their potential, like through like public speaking or being independent, as opposed to all our codependent gym sports where we're all playing team together and you're relying on someone else. Where their classes or gym classes are more like like even Jared mentioned, like they're sailing boats by themselves at 13, or walking or riding your bike across the country at 13, 12, 13-year-olds doing that, because that makes you a certain type of person. If you could do that, you can conquer anything. So that's how they try to raise their children up. You got no problem.
That's funny. I was reading. Who you guys familiar with Richard Branson, like the Virgin Airlines guy?
Oh yeah.
Virgin phones. His parent or his mother, when he was younger, just left him somewhere, like drove him like 3 miles from the house. He's probably like 9. She just drove him like 3 miles from the house, in like some random field, and left him there. And just left him there. It was like, all right, we'll find your way home, peace.
Yeah, that's what they do. Stuff like that. Because the whole thing, they basically extended childhood by adding those 4 years of high school, where people used to, at 13, you were a man or a woman at 13. You weren't a man, woman at 18 or 20-something when you graduated college, 20-something years old, and now you have to start being an adult, and, you already knew how to do that stuff at 13. You had your own house. You could build your own house. You can forage your own food. You could, any of the crafts that you wanted to learn, you became an apprentice, and you can do it yourself. Or you had your own business. Like, you get 13-year-olds having their own business, I think I forget his name, but the guy who was on, like, George Washington's head of the Navy fleet or something like that, one of the commanding officers was, like, a teenager.
The founding fathers were, like, in their 20s and shit. A lot of them.
You didn't live.
We were turning into babies, man. Like I was saying earlier, man, there's people in the, like, say, Renaissance, 1400s or something. Like, they were grown, like what you would call a grown man, what people's idea of a grown man, is to them was like, like you got to do this and do that to be. Right now, it's all if you pay your. They do it through like ego. They go, oh, well, if you pay your own rent, you're a grown man. That makes you a grown man if you pay your rent. If you have a child, you're a grown man. That don't make you grown, man. That don't make you an adult in your mind. You know, it just makes you a good slave.
Right.
Right. It's a toll gating system, so.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a very interesting conversation, very eye-opener. Love these conversations. You need to hold these. You holding these once a week now?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I want like.
Yo, you need to holler at me, man. I'm getting good with the web stuff, man. I could set up some stuff if you want to sit down and discuss it.
What I need help with, right, is finding good editing programs, video editing, music.
What, like
so I can make
editing?
better? Yeah, so I can make better videos. I need to learn. My friends teaching me, but I need to learn to how to, I guess, be more creative, shooting videos, documentary, things like that. I need to learn that. That's what I need. You
don't necessarily need to learn it if somebody you know might.
No, I don't want to do that. No, but it's like anything else. Like I was told by people who, you know, are pretty good in say the video documentary filmmaker or just a directing business. It said like people who went to school and learned it. Like I know a guy who did not go to school for it. And he's like, yo, those people went to school for it. Like, there's people who don't go to school. He didn't go to school for it. And he's better than the people who did go to school.
Right.
Because these guys learn the orthodox ways and all these things. And it's kind of like when you kind of form your own way, it's better that way. Cause
like I think Quentin Tarantino learned, he's not in the Directors Guild, so he didn't learn in the traditional way. I think he worked in just like a really crazy, like off-the-wall
yeah, there's
what do you
two
call
different...
it? Like rental spot. Like he worked in a like off the wall independent rental spot.
Yeah, because this is what it is.
Mad different stuff like.
Yeah, it's two different types of people. There's film directors, and then there's artists.
Yeah.
And there's film directors, they just do it. They learn at school, status quo. And then there's people who actually put their life into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not trying to make a career out of directing, but when I do this, I don't want to, huh?
You trying to make a contribution?
Yeah, I'm trying to, you know, do it like I want to do it creatively. I want to be creative with it. I want to make my contribution.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think you could do with I told you about my site, the Disaster Society thing. I'm trying to, like right now, I just have it on blogging autopilot. Like I have this like program that basically sucks other people's articles from their sites and put them on mine. So I don't do any of the blogging on my joint. But what kind of thing? It's called the Disaster Society. So there's definitely things that could be put into it that would make it. It's a non-profit kind of thing, but there's things that could be put into it. It could be like a slight, I guess social entrepreneurial thing, such that it's self-sustaining financially. But other than that, I mean, there could be things that could be thrown in that are not too directly off the wall, but that could lead to other places, obviously.
Yeah, good.
How would you spin that? If you I have a bunch of people that sent emails, like just random emails about like what kind of society is this? Because I'm like, it's not a society. It was just a name I picked. You know what I mean? Like just on GoDaddy.com.
Mhm. No,
I was taking environmental risk and disaster at Columbia at the time. And I came up with the name, so I was like, But people seem to want to join these type of things.
Because people feel like they have to join because that's what they wrote in books, about this time. They said that they will kill the individual, man. The individual will have almost no power, no meaning. He'll only be able to affect things in a group.
Yeah.
So that's what people are guided to. So they join the group, but they're becoming part of the system rather than fighting the system.
if they're even fighting it at all.
What was that?
I said if they're even fighting it at all.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that's why you have to read Jackie Lowe's, right? You have to read that book. Done. It's 2 books: Propaganda and the Technological Society. Man, he says like people who have unions, right? That's how they set them up. People are like, oh, you have a job and you want your own rights and all this stuff, and so they have a union. But what the people actually doing is becoming part of the beast by joining the union. And they just becoming incorporated into it and shit, man. It's crazy, man. But then, I know you do use that. You have a certain logic done. There's a logic with all of it because as you start looking at the system, the logic is the system. It's all about efficiency in the system, and the logic is like, well, okay, if it's all going towards efficiency, then eventually they're gonna make the human beings efficient. And then and that logically means you're gonna have to alter the human beings to make them more efficient, and that's what they're actually doing. And all efficiency is not for you; it's for something else.
Right.
It's something else bigger or higher, as they call it. But it's something else, man. You're benefiting. You're becoming efficient for another group of people. But these people, man, I see. There's certain things about the system, man, you don't know, man, about, like, our beginnings. Like, these people who started all this, with this system, they don't even exist, like, as a race anymore, man. Like, they kind of screwed themselves over and didn't see it coming. And we're going in that direction because what's running the system for them is a machine that they set up. A very, very powerful, advanced, way beyond your wildest imagination. I mean, it could like go inside your mind and like use your own thoughts to communicate with you, type of thing. Use your own memories. Like they algorize it in movies like Star Trek. A guy goes inside this thing, and it's his own figures in his past are talking to him. And that's how they're using it to communicate with him. It's like he's in a dream. That's how this machine is like so advanced, man. I've seen that same allegory so many times, and I only confirm, okay, that's how they communicate. It's like a mind-to-mind control type of machine. And but yet this machine doesn't have feelings. Like it doesn't have a conscience like a human being. It's running on a program. It can't work around its program. It's so powerful, but yeah, it can't work around its original program.
Which is a good thing in theory.
No, it's not a good thing because the program was basically self-destruction. Because that's what happened to the people who programmed it. They self-destruction for them, and that's where because in the end, not even the computer's gonna win. It just everybody would just be destroyed. It just destroy itself. So it doesn't. I mean, that's not something.
That makes a lot of sense in theory. Because a lot of the like most powerful dudes like worship like their own self-destruction, or like if you look at like Skull and Bones or like shit like that, like it's all like destruction, like
Yeah, I guess that's the order out of chaos type of shit. The chaos, like destroying to be reborn again, and that ritual, or whatever. But this machine, man, is like insane. It's running on a program, can't get past it. It's going to destroy itself, and it's like it's just going to do it anyway because it's a machine. A human being, even a human being wouldn't do that, man. A human being wouldn't do that. A human being would be like, okay, I don't give a fuck how. Even a psychopathic human being, if it sees its own self-destruction, man, it's gonna stop. It's gonna stop, man, to benefit itself. because psychopaths may not have feelings or conscience like a normal human being would, but yet they still have that self-preservation inside of them. They want to save their own lives and shit. How long have you been on this thing for?
2.5 hours, maybe.
Hold on.
That's it?
Yeah, like 2 hours and some change. I mean, I've been on like 2 hours and some change.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'm about to get off.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Nice speaking with y'all. Maybe next week.
Nobody else got any last words to say? Any want to add? Sure.
Please hit me up on Facebook, gentlemen. All of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Also, send me books that you think I should be reading. You know, steer a little bit. You know, all input is welcome. Even if I'm debating, I just debate just to make sure everyone's argument is tight. I'll have it. Please.
Hey, anybody else? No? All right.
All right. Peace, guys.
Jorge?
Huh?
All right, bye. Nah, I'm okay.
Peace.
All right. Dana?
All right.
Bye.
All right, man.
All right.
All right.